Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Churner's Digest. My name is Alex, otherwise known as Fear the Z, and you know the drill. Disclaimer, I'm not a financial or tax advisor. This is not financial or tax advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please enjoy. Shout out Cleed for being a member of the Patreon. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/Churner's Digest. I've noticed that you'll see here in my discussion that there's some things that are more timely that are like expire the day I find them, and I don't really have a way to share that out. I don't have like a email distribution list. I don't have a way to contact listeners, but I think I might start sharing it on the Patreon. I do post it in the Simple Finance Discord, but it doesn't seem like a lot of people people don't check that daily, and I'm not like using @here or something in the channel, so I might try to start posting it in the Patreon. And again, the Patreon's only $1, and like I'm gonna cover it in the podcast, so nothing's gonna change about the podcast. But I only post the podcast like once a week, maybe at that. I've been trying to be more consistent, but some of these things expire the day they come out, and I have no real way of sending deal alerts like Daily Churn does. He has like a whole great system set up where it's $5 a month and you get a part of his Discord, but I'm not going to be that fancy. It's just $1 to go on the Patreon. If there's something that's timely, I'll make a post on there. I don't know how notifications work on there. If when I post, I believe you get notifications, so I try not to be very noisy, but I think I might start doing that just for things that are more timely, and maybe we'll get some more Patreon signups. But again, nothing's about the podcast is going to change. I'm still going to share it here. It's just certain things are timely and expire very quickly, and I have no other way of sharing it. So I'll start putting those on the Patreon, and maybe some people will find it useful. So I still have a referral page. It's in the show notes on the companion site. And I did get a referral this past week from someone using my upgrade link. So thanks. I believe it's when you sign up, I get $50 and you get 150. And with that, I think you just have to do a direct deposit of some sorts into upgrade. And there's a lot of data points on Doctor of Credit as to what counts for their direct deposit. So if you're interested in that, again, it's in the show notes. Upgrade does have a cashback debit card, which is pretty useful. I hinted at a little bit of a loophole that I've been using to get some cash back, and it does involve upgrade. So that debit card is pretty useful if that gives anyone out there some hints. Also, I did get 2 submissions. So for my card design page, where I have a large growing list, I think the largest on the internet, of just like credit card and debit card images of like raw rips of the design of the card. I have a large repository on my blog of those card images, and I just got 2 submissions from a listener or a reader named Paul and a listener or reader named Andy. So thank you both for your submissions. I got submissions like the Altitude Reserve card from US Bank, some like a Harrison Teeter card, some physical scans as well, a physical scan of the American Express Blue Cash Everyday card, which is a pretty cool design because it was see-through, at least the older one was, so you can see like the NFC antenna. So if you're interested to see those new cards, they're just sporadically placed in that blog post, and I have it in the show notes too. But that's it for things to cover. But if you do have things you want to submit, I have instructions on how to get the Apple Wallet images. Like there's still plenty of cards I don't have. There's a lot of Amex cards I don't have. And I don't have a single Chase Southwest card. There's a whole bunch of them I don't have. So if you're interested in making a submission, whether it be a physical scan of the card or a rip from Apple Wallet, it doesn't give me any identifiable information. Whatever you see on the blog post of those card images is just the image that I will get from you. You can either email it to me at churnersdigest@gmail.com. That's the preferable way, just because if you upload it to something like Imgur, it's going to compress the image, and I'm trying to keep them as high res as possible. So you can put it into Google Drive and share it with me, or just send me a bunch of emails of just because emails have a megabyte limit. So you can just send a bunch of emails to me with the images in there. But if you're interested in something like that, I'd love to add to the list. And I do call you out at the top of the page if you'd make a submission. So I've added Paul and Andy, and I emailed you both back. If you have another name you want me to use, I can put that in there. I'm obviously not going to put your last name, but if you have like an internet username or something, I'm happy to put that in there. All right. Into the news. As the first item here is one of those things that expired very quickly. So Doctor of Credit reported that there was a deal on Airbnb gift cards. So it was buy a $200 Airbnb gift card from Target and you'll get a $20 Target gift card. I love these because when I travel, I usually book Airbnbs and there's no real good way of getting a discount. You used to be able to get 10% off with Juno, but they've since removed that. And Juno's a sinking ship, so abandon if you can. But there's been deals like this in the past. The most recent one was by Best Buy, and it was similar. Buy $200 Airbnb gift card, get a $20 Best Buy gift card. And then these are also very useful because it just so happens that this quarter is, I think Discover is 10% off at Amazon and Target, and 5% off at Amazon and Target, and Chase is 5% off of PayPal. So if you use either one of those with this Airbnb purchase, for the gift cards, you get an effective 15% discount on Airbnb. So I went and ordered 3, and I forgot that I had already ordered one when that Best Buy deal was around. So I now have like $800 worth of Airbnb gift cards. Hopefully my Airbnb account doesn't get shut down for some reason, because I would be losing close to $1,000 of Airbnb gift cards. I eventually plan on traveling again soon, so those will definitely come in handy. But like something like that was only valid for, I believe it was October 10th, or excuse me, October 30th, and just for the one day. So I did share it on the Simple Finance Discord, but not everyone checks the deals and steals thread on that random Discord server. So that's something I could post on the Patreon and hopefully get some more attention. All right, next we have $50 off of a $50 purchase when you sign up for a Target Red Card. I already have a Target Red Card, and previously you were able to churn this where, like, I think it was every 3 months you could close the card and open it back up and get these sign-up bonuses again, but then they shut that down. But just recently, there have been some reports on Doctor of Credit saying that this is churnable again. It looks like they're occasionally resetting the period where they see you as a recent openee, and they're allowing you to open the card again. But honestly, I don't think it's really worth it. You have to go in and spend $40 or $50 at Target, which I don't go there too frequently. I used to go there a lot just because it was a local grocery store, but now I usually go to Whole Foods, and I get a good discount with Albert there, and I'm an Amazon Prime member, so I get 10% off of their sales. Whole Foods is already pretty expensive, but there's some things that are pretty good there that I try and purchase. But I don't go to Target too often, and doing this whole convoluted checking to see if you're eligible for the sign-up bonus, closing the card, open it back up just for $50 for maybe once or twice a year, I don't really think it's worth it, but I figured I'd call it out. Next, we have a bank bonus that was shut down early. I put this in my notes to call it out during the podcast, and it was shut down before the podcast was recorded. The bank just pulled the bonus early, but it was Amorous Bank. It was a pretty decent sign-up bonus, but they've pulled it, so I'm not going to go into it too much. That's just something to note. If you ever see a bank account bonus that you think is useful that you'd want to go for, it's often, especially if there's no expiration date, where the bank will just pull it early. So just something to keep in mind if you're getting into this game. All right, next, I believe it was last week I called out the Discover check savings bonus. Let's see, was it last week? Yeah, it was, where you can do like cyclical deposits to deposit, withdraw to meet that requirement. And they just recently released a new bonus that's a lower deposit requirement. So you can get a $400 bonus for depositing $30,000 instead of the $400 bonus for depositing $40,000. But again, it doesn't matter too much because it's cyclical, like I said, so you can just pull it, put it in, take it out, put it in, take it out. No innuendo meant there. But if you've never done one of these bonuses before, it's pretty lucrative. They're pretty easy to go for, and they pay out super fast. So called it out last time. I'll call it out again. Next, we have I believe I called this out in a podcast a couple episodes ago, maybe like 5 or 6 at this point. But Bank of America still has a public checking account bonus where I believe it's $100 Oh no, now it's actually 200. There's a public $200 checking bonus where you direct deposit 2K in 90 days, and they'll pay out $200. Not terrible. Bank of America does have some fees you have to try and avoid, so keep that in mind if you go for that. But I think it's worth it. Next is a new Capital One savings account bonus, and this one is deposit between $20,000 or $100,000 to get between $300 and $1,500. One thing to notice is that in the terms, they explicitly say that if you've had or opened a 360 Performance Savings, 360 Savings, 360 Money Market, Savings Now, or Confidence Savings account as a primary or secondary account holder with Capital One on or after January 1st, 2021, you're ineligible. So pretty much if you've had any savings product from them in the past almost 3 years, you're not eligible. So if you are not eligible, obviously don't go for it, but Capital One does pay out pretty quickly, and I do like their checking account or their savings account. They pay pretty well on their APY, and between the APY and the bonus, it comes out to an effective about 10.4% APY for the holding period you have to hold it. So that's pretty great. If you have this kind of cash that's just lying around, it'll do better in one of these bonuses than just sitting in a high yield savings account. All right, next is another one of these expired too early, but I'm still going to talk about it anyway. I went for it, but it was and I shared it on the Simple Finance Discord again, but I think one person said they used it. I forget who it was. But it was, if you're familiar with Top Cash Back, it's similar to Rakuten, but not as, like, less official. Like they're official, but Rakuten is very polished, while Top Cash Back is kind of like the ugly stepbrother, for lack of a better term. It was a incentive bonus where you spend $15 and get $4 back. You have to activate the offer and then make a purchase. But these also apply. Actually, I found this out from a Dr. Credit comment a while ago, but I don't have a link to it, so sorry. I don't have credit to give them. But you can actually just purchase gift cards from Top Cashback, and you earn cash back on that gift card, and then you also can get this incentive bonus. So what I did was I just went in and purchased $15 of Target gift cards, and I think I got like 3% back for it. And then I used a card that earns 5% back online. You can use like Chase card, which right now is 5% at PayPal, and then you get this $4 back triggered as well. So it's great stacking, and it's free money. Top Cashback pays out pretty quick on those, and they track pretty easily. So if you do purchase that, or this does happen in the future because it's expired now, but make sure you turn off like ad blocker and VPNs, because these shopping portals need the cookies and need to track you in order to track these purchases. Next was just some news in the industry. Mint, the budgeting platform, is being shut down. I believe they're owned by Credit Karma, and they just decided to shut it down. I think that they're winding it down and putting it into like their own Credit Karma version of Mint, and a lot of people weren't too happy about it. But there's a great discussion thread on our churning that talks about alternatives, as well as in the Doctor of Credit comments of that post, which both are linked in the companion site if you want to read through there. I personally just use a spreadsheet tracker. I have, at this point, let's take a look. I love doing this because it's absolutely ridiculous, but sorry, I just hit the mic stand. I have, at this point in time, 55 open bank accounts, and over my lifetime of churning, I have 101 accounts that have been opened or closed in total. So 55 that are active. If I had to go into these platforms and log into 55 accounts, and then every time you log back in, because I've tried this before, I've tried so many different budgeting platforms, and whenever I log back in, there's always like at least 6 or 10 of them that want me to revalidate and put in like a verification code that they sent me, like 2-factor, and I'm sick of doing that. So what I do is once a month, in the companion post, I have a link to a blog post of mine from a while ago called I think Current Bank Accounts, and at the bottom there's a sanitized version of my financial tracker, which is what I call it. And there's some sheets in there that aren't included, like my investment sheet as well as my credit card sheet. But what I do is I go through every single one of my accounts that's on my sheet. I always add my new accounts to the sheet to make sure that I'm keeping track of everything. And once a month, usually on the 1st, just after like interest posts for all these accounts, I go in and I update all of my balances, and then I make note of the previous month's net worth, the previous month's percent change, the previous month's cash minus liabilities over assets, and cash minus investments. And then I log this month's version, and I can track the differences between the two, how my progression is going, if I've net gained money, if I've net lost money. I also put in my investments, like I said, but I don't think I have that sheet shared. If y'all are interested, you can hit me up at turnersdigest@gmail.com. And if there's enough traction, I can share that out as well. And I also just log my credit card balances because I have some that have 0% APR offers, so I keep a balance on those. And some of them, I always set everything to auto pay, but I like to still keep track of how much I'm spending. So I log my total outstanding balance and everything, what my utilization is, and they keep track of that month to month as well. So I have a good picture of my financial outlook. And I also track my total Bank of America assets to know what tier I'm in, because that fluctuates based on my investments. But essentially, that's what I do. I just use the old-fashioned spreadsheet tracker, and I actually really like updating it every month. I like seeing my financial picture and seeing my graphs grow, because I also have like little charts that plot my net worth and show me my average and my change in percent over month to month. So if you're interested, definitely check it out. And if you want some more on those, I could even do like a dedicated episode of breaking down this sheet and showing how I update it. But if you're interested in something like that, or the investment account sheet or the credit card sheet, shoot me an email. Or if you're on Spotify, I can put like a little poll and you can answer their question. If you scroll up on the podcast, there should be a question down there. I can toss one in there. I don't think it's supported on other platforms, unfortunately, but for y'all, you can just email me or hit me up on Reddit if you're the Z, or on Discord. All right, next, I think last episode or 2 episodes ago, I was talking about a Venmo crypto bonus that they were offering. My data point at the time was, I just closed my tab. Oops. I transferred in $500. The offer was transfer in $500 and get a $50 bonus. So I transferred in $500. I transferred in $500 of crypto to Venmo. What the fuck did I do? Transferred in $500 of crypto, Venmo Sports for $50. I purchased $505 of LTC on Robinhood. Transferred all to Venmo. Oh, okay. I should have read this first. I purchased $505 of LTC on Robinhood, which Venmo supports. I then transferred all that from Robinhood to Venmo, which had a loss of $1.56. Then I transferred all of that from Venmo to Juno, because Venmo said there was a fee to sell. And then once I got to Juno, I lost like $13. But then I sold in Juno for free. So it's a total loss of $14.87, and I was waiting for the $50. And then I read some people were saying that they contacted Venmo because the terms originally said they would pay out in 7 days, and it had been 7 days and there was no payout. And support was saying that it was a mistake for it to say 7 days and they always pay out in 4 to 6 weeks. So I was like, man, that's a bummer. I kind of just chalked it up as a loss. And then on November 3rd, I actually got a payout of $75 that said, what was the exact verbiage? They said, here's your reward for trip transfer crypto plus a little for the wait. So it was 75 instead of 50. So if we take the $75 minus the $14.87 that I lost for the transfers, it wound up being a net gain of $60.13. So like really not worth it, but hey, I mean, it's like free money. It is worth it, but if I knew they were going to have a whole rigmarole, like if it was only $35 profit, it's not as worth it. But since they gave the extra $25, it kind of did make it worth it. So that's nice. That is also expired, but I figured I'd just report on my data point. Next, Cleed reported on the Simple Finance Discord that a long time ago, I think I talked about this, that Robinhood purchased the X1 credit card, and X1 Robinhood just sent out an email saying that the X1 card is going to start reporting to credit bureaus as Robinhood instead of X1. So not really a change, but figured I'd call that out. Next, Every Penny Evan, who also has a blog, which I've linked to in the past, brought to my attention that I think he did. If someone else did, then he was the one that I attributed to in my head, so I guess I'm giving him credit. Venmo is giving a $1 off coffee and fast food purchase cash back until I think like the end of the month or end of the year. This is very similar if you remember Oxygen. I'll give a link to my Oxygen blog post. Oxygen's kind of gone by the wayside. They're not great anymore. They kind of gutted their rewards. And I'll also give a link to that if you want to read up on that. But Oxygen did used to offer $1 off of any fast food purchase, which was great. The minimum was a $3 purchase. So I'd like get a $4 coffee and get $1 off, which is super nice. But now it looks like Venmo is doing something similar. I've tried to use it twice, and Venmo is different than Oxygen, where they want 2 specific merchant category codes, and I don't normally shop at like a big brand coffee shop like a Dunkin' or a Starbucks. I usually purchase from like a mom and pop shop, and those always have weird merchant category codes, and I've now tried to purchase at 2 different of those coffee shops, and neither have tracked for the $1 bonus. So I'm not really going to use it, but if you have a Venmo debit card and you do shop at something like Dunkin' or Starbucks, it's a free $1 off. Give it a shot. I've also tried adding it to Curve to first put it on the Curve card, have it route to the Venmo card, and then if it doesn't track, use Go Back in Time to switch it. Every time I've tried to make a purchase or use Go Back in Time to put a purchase onto the Venmo card, Curve says that it's been declined. So I have a feeling that PayPal might have blacklisted or deny listed the Venmo debit card, but that's just my thought. I don't really have any evidence aside from that. All right, next is something I noticed that Doctor of Credit posted. For those of you who have a City Custom Cash back card, City Custom Cash card, it looks like City had some issues with awarding cash back from October 20th to October 22nd, where purchases made between those dates just didn't track cash back properly. So it's probably worth taking a look at your statements. I don't really use the cards too much since I do make purchases at Whole Foods, and it does get. I now have a Whole Foods and Amazon Prime credit card, so either my Whole Food purchase is going to Albert, which is for the 20% off up to $5, or it's going to Curve, and then it's going to Curve, going to Custom Cash, and then going to Go Back in Time when the Albert boost is back for the $5 off, or I'm just putting it on my Amazon Visa because it already gets 5%. So I don't use the card too much. I definitely didn't use it from 1020 to 1022. I did take a look, but if you have it, it's worth taking a look. Something else that's definitely more specific to me, but I figured I'd call it out. I have CVS Care Pass, and I want to do an episode on that as well because it's super lucrative for those people that shop at CVS often. It's an annual subscription where they give you a $10 voucher every month to use, but it costs like $5 a month if you sign up for the year plan, and you get 20% off of CVS Health brand products. And I think they just gave me a bunch of coupons, and I think that's because I'm a CVS Care Pass member. But if it's $5 a month, they give you $10 a month coupon. It's a $5 profit. So even if they mark up their products by 50%, which I don't believe that they do, you still come out on top. So it's very worth it if you go to CVS at least once a month. But I received an email from CVS saying that the FDA has recalled CVS brand eye care product for potentially causing partial blindness and vision loss. Thankfully, that hasn't happened to me, but they said that there's a couple SKUs that I may have purchased that may fall under it. What's really terrible is they just gave SKUs, not the name of the product, and from what I can tell, I can't look up SKUs on CVS's website, so I had to go to Brickseed and put the SKUs into there, and only some of them came up with products. It looks like it's only CVS eye drops, CVS Health branded eye drops, but some of them that I did get back some information about the product was there's one for lubricating eye drops, there's one for multi-action relief eye drops, there's one for lubricating gel eye drops, there's one for preventative-free lubricating eye ointment. I have contacts and they get pretty dry, so I buy eye drops frequently from them, and it looks like maybe at least one of these are covered. So what they recommend is taking the product and bringing it back to CVS and you get a full refund. So next time I go to CVS, I'm just going to bring them all back and be like, hey, can I get refunds for these? They're already used. So, I mean, it's kind of free money back for me. And I go to CVS frequently. I'm still going to buy their products. They're super cheap, especially with 20% off. Well, they're so cheap that it potentially causes vision loss and blindness, but apparently I don't care. It didn't happen to me, so I think I'm still going to buy their products. But just a call out, if you buy some eye drops from CVS, maybe take a look I gave a list in the companion site. I have a list of all the SKUs, as well as if I was able to find information about those SKUs, I put the name of it, which I just verbally said, but I also put a picture of the product on the site. So if you are interested, the information's over there. All right, this episode was pretty light. Wasn't too much for me to cover, but Halloween did just pass, and I did do a little fun Halloween tracking. So I like data, and every time I had a trick-or-treater, I asked them what their favorite candy was, just unprompted, and I did a little graph of it, and I had like a screen up so the kids could see, and some of them seemed to like it, some of them didn't really seem to care or didn't really know what to say, so they weren't super interested, but it was interesting to see the results. There's a screenshot, again, on the companion site of the results and the graphs, but I live in Massachusetts, so I don't know if it's demographic-wise based on area, but the number one was, as they say here, Reese's Cups. It's actually Reese's Cups. I've had this fight so many times, but Reese's Cups came out at the top. Well, I should say there was about 106 total that voted. I probably had like 150 to 200 trick-or-treaters. We had a lot, but not all of them wanted to answer the question. Some of them were just too shy, didn't want to say anything, but I got an answer from some, and the number one result was Reese's Cups. Then it was all candy. Some people couldn't pick a specific one that they loved, and they just said, "Oh, I love all candy," so I put that in there. 12 was number 3 was Twix at 12. Number 4 was Snickers with 10. Number 5 was Kit Kat at 9, and then it goes Milky Way, Hershey's, Lollipops, which is surprising, and then kind of just a bunch of random ones. I thought that was interesting. I thought I'd share on here. Why not? It's a pretty light week. But that's about it. Again, if you want to reach out, Fear the Z on Reddit, Fear the Z on Discord, churnersdigest@gmail.com. As always, thanks for listening, and hope you have a great day.